Hi, my name is Leke Sholuade. I'm the founder of Black Valley. We support Black talent to accelerate their career in tech and to start their own tech startups. I think for me as a founder, one of the barriers I faced when starting my business was there was no one within my immediate circle that started a business before. So it was almost going through that journey and discovering what that looks like by myself and trying to figure that out really. And then trying to create like the social network that could help me within my business. And the other thing that's probably very similar to everyone when starting something new is around this idea of self-doubt. So there is that self-doubt. Okay, I've got this great idea. Actually, do you have the right skill set or the right ability to make it happen? I think prior to starting Black Valley, I'm a very creative person and always have many ideas, but not necessarily the follow through. So I think this was important for me to do follow through on this one. So the barriers were, yes, self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, feeling like maybe I'm not quite ready yet, or should I start? Do I have the right skill sets? And then the know-how, I think business feels like quite a big thing to do. But what you actually realize is when you start doing it, it becomes a bit clearer. It's like, that saying that, the journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step. And actually with the business, it's literally just taking the first step. And what that first step looks like for me was jumping on Instagram Live with a friend and sharing the passion about what I want to do and why I want to get started. And once I did that, and I've spoken to people that I'm going to start a business, and solve this problem, everything that just follow as a result of that, people were passionate about the idea and they wanted to help. And then you realize, okay, cool, what's the next step? I'm going to set up a company house and register the company, and things that I just followed through really once I was able to overcome that. When it comes to building my support network and community, I think it's intentional and I think it's accidental at the same time as well. So for me, I led with my immediate circle. So when I realized I wanted to do something within tech for the Black community, I spoke to people that I've worked with within the sector before. So that was a friend of mine that was a UX designer and luckily had quite a bit of a following on Instagram. So we spoke about the idea. We jumped on Instagram Live and I was exposed to some of his followers. As well as that, I reached out to people, a friend of mine that also worked in tech as well, spoke to me about the idea. And once I was able to get them on board about that idea, and what you realize is then they introduce you to one person, and the one person that they introduce you another person, and it's that almost that network effect. And then the other one was really intentional. So really using LinkedIn as an effective tool to network. So what I did was every time I came across someone that I felt like could be a good person to have within my network or work with my company, I reach out to them and try to engage with a conversation with them, and by leading with, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. It would be great to have a conversation with you around that. The other thing is around telling stories. I was quite consistent about sharing what I was doing in my journey. So I use Instagram quite effectively for that as well. So what that would look like is if I did a process within the business or I'm starting something, I'll share on Instagram with my followers, or I would get excited and share that journey. We just got 5 people signed up for the program. How great is that? We've got the next 10 people to sign up for the program. And I think people see that genuine passion that you bring to your business and they follow you along that journey. And it's almost like they celebrate that journey with you as well. And being a solo founder at that early stage, it's just you going through that journey. And in an extent, like your community or your extended community, the social media following can be your community in a way, people that you're sharing that experience with and championing you on, and you're growing together as your business as your idea becomes a business. When it comes to sharing your lived experience or leaning on that as a founder, I think it's really important because I think in a way it's linked to your edge when it comes to your business. I feel like we all have a personal story and being really into what that personal story is. So in my case, my business is about supporting Black talent to get into tech. But the reason I'm really passionate about that is because of my experience of, migrating as a migrant from Nigeria to the UK and then really trying to fit into the UK society, really, I think. So when I speak to people about my business, I really lead with that. I lead with that genuineness. Okay, this is where I came from. This is what I'm currently doing now, and this is why I'm passionate about helping people, because I see myself as that 16-year-old that was trying to figure out life until someone was able to give him direction. And then I lean on that to about, okay, this is why my business wants to support people and help people. And I think people buy into that. They see the genuineness of, okay, you're passionate about helping people, and we see that in you, and we want to help people. One thing that I've learned though is to be really concise with that story, and to, when you're telling that story to someone else, to kind of like read their feedback as well. There's no point, talking to someone for like 20 minutes and actually they've only got 5 minutes for your conversation. So being really concise when you're sharing your story, and like refine that story as you go along, because what you will start to see is there are certain points within that story that you're sharing that people react to, and then that really helps you define, okay, this is the bit that I want to like expand on more. This is the bit I want to talk about less, really. I think our stories are very powerful, and as a founder, like, to really make sure you're able to tell people like, hey, what have you been through, and how does that make you the perfect person to start this business, is something that separates you from the pack. Like, being in business is competitive. There are a lot of great people doing things that are similar to you. Why should the buyer or why should the customer come to you instead of them? And actually, if that buyer or that customer, if they could see that, this person is really genuine, and this person is passionate about this product, and this person not only wants the best outcome for their business, but they really care about me as a customer, because essentially, like, they're the customer as well, so they want to provide the best service to their customer. When it comes to the UK tech startup ecosystem, I think a lot more could be done to support Black founders. It's great to see what's been done already over the past 12 months. I think there's definitely been a shift to recognize that there are great Black founders out there that need support to realize their startup ambition. I'll put those three stuff into three brackets. The first one is this idea around capital. We need to deploy more capital to support Black founders. Currently, there's research to show that Black founders are less likely to be invested in at that early stage in comparison to our white counterparts. A new business needs capital to survive. So actually, we're stopping them from surviving, and we're stopping them from thriving. So like, by deploying that capital, we're able to support Black founders better. My second point is this idea around social capital. When it comes to the VC world, it's who knows who, and there's this idea of a warm intro. And actually, as a Black founder, if you're not already within the circle, it's difficult to get that warm intro. So what we need to make sure is make that process a bit more, I guess, change that process actually, like change it entirely. And I think what that will look like is making sure people that are VCs are more representative, and we have more diverse VCs in the first place. I think that will go a long way in changing that narrative, really. And we need to look at maybe a different system of supporting Black founders and investing in Black founders. There's a report that came out recently that, most GPs, most LPs are likely to invest in founders because of relationship. So how can we change that? And something that we need to think about. And the last point that I'll probably talk about is resources. We need to equip Black founders with resources to make sure they're able to reach their startup ambition. When I think about my founder journey, I think it's a very unconventional one. I think there's a couple of advice I'll give myself. The first one is to dream bigger. I think when you are starting, you do have a big vision, but in a way, that vision can be sometimes limited to your experience. But actually, there's so much more where you could go with your idea. So try and dream as big as possible with the idea from the onset. Because if you do aim higher, then you can only come as close to that. The second thing is I'll probably tell myself to write everything down. I think because of the sort of person I am, I'm likely to think about stuff but not document it as possible. So actually, within your startup journey, processes are so important. And I think sometimes we overthink what strategy and processes are. Then literally, you writing down, to get this thing done, this is how we do it. And what that means is if someone new comes into the business, that business could function without you. So that would probably be what I'll advise. Dream big and start by implementing process as early as possible so that business could function without you. my one key tip to give to any founder watching this is really believe in yourself. I think a lot of people say that, but you have this idea that's great, and you just have to believe that that idea is in your head for a reason, and believe that you're the best person to make that happen, and just follow the idea and just start by taking that first step, really.